Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, I will be discussing and reviewing the 1981 slasher film Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. In this video, we will discuss the plot of the film, the setting, the kills, the nudity. I'll talk about the DVD itself before wrapping it all up with some final thoughts. Now, the first thing I'd like to discuss is the title of this film, as this film kind of goes by quite a few multiple titles that some people may know it. Um, you know, in different ways depending on probably where you live. As you can see here, this DVD is it's titled Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. This is one of the original titles. It has a few original titles, however that's possible. This is what I've always known it as. I've always referred to this film as Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. But it's also known as Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. I think that's more of a UK version. I think in the UK it was known as Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. It's also known as just Nightmare. That's more in the US, I believe. Also considered on according to IMDb as an original title, and it's also known as Blood Splash. Again, IMDb has that as an original title, and the there's a special feature on this of the alternate opening, and it does say Blood Splash in that. So yeah, this film has gone by a few different titles, so kind of an interesting thing. Now, the other interesting thing about this film, if you're not aware, there's a little bit of controversy, as this film has a Tom Savini connection. Tom Savini, of course, from Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th, Part 1, Part 4, The Burning, The Prowler, just one of the greatest special effects, practical effects, makeup effects artist of the 70s and 80s. He's just, anyone who's watching this channel probably knows, is well aware of Tom Savini. Basically, he was involved in this film. Now, the controversy is what his role exactly was. In this particular DVD, when the credits are on the screen, he is credited as Special Effects Director. Now, apparently there's some other cuts of the film where he is credited as Makeup Effects Artist. He says, basically, his role in this film was merely as a consultant. He was on, he was there during the production of the film, but he claims he didn't. None of this special, like the practical effects work, was by his hands. He was there just lending his ideas, his creativity, as like I said, in a consulting role. That's what he claims. When this film was released, of course they does it say on this one that there's some Prince. His name is on here. Special effects by Tom Savini on here. But they advertise, from the people who brought you Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th. So they were trying to capitalize on his fame, and he actually threatened to sue them over using his name. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. It seems like he didn't want to be associated with this film for some reason. Now there's photos of him on set of him working, holding, some of these practical effects and whatnot. So he was there and he was working on the film. But so I don't know. So who knows what the deal is? But regardless, it's in my opinion, it's pretty clear his influence is felt in this film, because the special effects are they're really something in this film. They're pretty great. But before we get into all of that, and in the rest of the film, let's just start off by taking a quick look at the plot. Okay, so Nightmare on a Damaged Brain. Basically, this film, we open seeing a guy. We see him having like a nightmare in a bed, and he's having it seems like it's either a nightmare or a flashback. We don't really know what's going on, and we see some violence happening. And basically, what it is, it turns out that he's kind of been diagnosed as a schizophrenic, like a medical patient who has some severe mental illnesses. He's being treated for it by a doctor, like a psychiatrist, and the doctor's like, "You're not a violent person. You're just having these nightmares, these dreams," and they're not sure if it's memories or if he's just having dreams. And he's like, "Oh, it feels like I'm actually doing these things. It feels like I'm committing these crimes, these violent acts." And the psychiatrist is like, "No, no, just keep taking your medication and you'll be fine. It's suppressing the dreams and suppressing the violence and whatnot." And of course, at some point, he's well, first off, this takes place in New York City, the first part of the film, and then he at some point I guess, like, he's not really locked up. He's free to come and go, but he kind of, I don't know if escapes is the right word, but he goes on the run. He kind of disappears from the doctors, and of course they get all freaked out, and they're like, because some of the doctors feel that he is really dangerous, and they don't know where he is. He just kind of disappears into the wind. And what happens is he starts heading south from New York. He's heading towards Florida. Um, and basically that's where he ends up. He ends up in Florida, and he starts coming in contact with a family, a single family, a mother who has like a boyfriend and like three children. And he keeps having some run-ins with this family in the house that they live in, and we don't really know what's going on. And eventually he starts killing people. Like, he's off his medication, and yeah, it kind of picks up from there. It's kind of We kind of watch him struggling with his mental illness, and it was like, we're trying to determine, are these like actually happening? Are these nightmares? Are these hallucinations? Or is he actually committing these crimes? And there's like I said, the family, and one of the main protagonists, I don't think that's him, but is one of the young boys, one of the young children of the family, and he kind of has his own story in this, where he's kind of the kid who cries wolf. He's kind of a messed up kid, and he pretends that he's getting murdered, or he pretends that there's a murderer chasing him. He plays these pranks on his siblings and his mother and her boyfriend. And they're getting fed up with him, and they're like, stop, stop, stop. So that's kind of a subplot. But then of course, he runs into the killer, and are they gonna believe him? Is he making it up? Like, so it kind of gets that yeah, like I said, like the boy who cried wolf, and it kind of plays out from there. So then, in the film reaches its conclusion, and there's like some confrontations, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. But it's an interesting plot. So all right, what I'll say is yeah, Nightmare on a Damaged Brain. It's a strange film. It definitely doesn't follow the typical 80s slasher formula. It comes off as more of a low budget, uh, incomplete, messy, amateur type version of like your Maniac, your New York Ripper, that sort of style of 80s slasher. And I don't say that as a knock on this film. Uh, on the contrary, because by comparing this to those films, for me at least, that's a pretty big compliment. Because I'll be honest with you, like right away, I really enjoyed this film. Um, yeah, like those two films I just mentioned, Nightmare on a Damaged Brain it's a grimy, sleazy, gory, nasty little piece of filmmaking. And that type of film may not be for everyone, but it's it's for me. It's definitely a type of film that's up my alley. And right from the opening scene, you kind of know what you're in for, what sort of experience you're gonna get with like the almost immediate gore that's shown. It's just not that they're showing you gore. It's the type of gore. Like I said, it's like a grimy, sleazy. Um, Hard to explain, but once you see it, you're like, okay, this is that type of film that I'm about to watch. Yeah, and you know what? It never really lets up after that. With there's always some like sleazy sex scene, some gory violence, or just some kind of weirdly uncomfortable scenes. It's just, I don't know, this film is the epitome of that grindhouse underground gore fest type of film, but in a 80s slasher package, but not the typical 80s slasher package. Um, yeah, so it's no wonder like this film actually found itself on the video nasties list, and yeah, it's no surprise really. Now, one thing I'll say that was a little hit and miss for me was how, like I said, when I talked about the plot, how this film basically used a 9-year-old boy who I spoke about earlier. They used this 9-year-old boy kind of in the role of like the final girl. Um, there were there were some elements to this that worked, because like when you have that type of the boy who cried wolf kind of plot element going on, it in some way it kind of added some tension because there was some scenes that they filmed, as you're watching it, you don't know what's going on. Like, is this real? Is he pulling a prank? Is he joking? Like, you don't really know, so it kind of added that tension of what was going on. But the issue was I found the kid himself um kind of annoying for most of the film, both his acting and like the character itself. So I wish there was some other choice made, but honestly, for the plot in this film, like to play itself out, it was sort of necessary. But it's just, um, I don't know. I kind of found him annoying. So, if I was gonna knock this film for anything, in regards to the plot, that would be it. But for the most part, um, like the overall plot is it's not too coherent at times. It can get a little messy. Many times I was wondering like what is going on. I wasn't exactly sure. I wasn't super confused, but I wasn't exactly clear. I wasn't following it exactly the way you typically do with these films. But by the time the conclusion comes, it all kind of did sort of make sense. And I will say the final like twist reveal at the end, it actually really worked pretty well for me. For whatever reason, I didn't piece it together. Um, I don't know. I feel like I should have. Like it's not like it's like an aha, but maybe it was because it kind of got me. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't piece it together, so I enjoyed it. Maybe, maybe the plot's maybe a little more convoluted than it needed to be, but overall, I'm gonna say the plot, like I said, even though messy at times, was actually pretty good for me, at least. Yeah. All right. So let's move on and let's have a look at the setting. All right. So for the most part, this film is broken up, like I said earlier, into like two primary locations. Um, Basically, New York City was where the first part of the film uh, took place, and then, like I said, it moves down into Florida. Now, the New York City scenes in this film really captures that sleazy, grimy underbelly of New York City in the early 80s. And I absolutely love that. It's like a character all by itself in this film. It's fantastic. There is one uh, series of scenes, or I don't know, it's maybe 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere like that, of the whole. It's shot at 42nd Street, 1980, 1981, whenever this was actually filmed. 42nd Street, New York City. It's fantastic. We get to see some exterior shots of the character, walking around nighttime, 42nd Street, walking in front of all the peep show, like the peep show theaters, like an actual movie theaters playing like adult films. There's one that's like Caligula, like the penthouse film there, like Caligula. It's great. It's like all the bright neon lights and whatnot. It's fantastic. So you get to see some of that, which is just great. You get to see inside of, I can only assume, was an actual like peep show, like where there's like the um the circular stage, and all around this round stage there's like little windows that you put your money in, and the window goes up and you can peep through, and there's a woman inside dancing, and she goes up to your little window and you give her money and do stuff, and then your window closes. If you want to open, you put more money in, and there's these windows. You know what I'm talking about. That there was like a good little dance scene in this thing that's super dirty, super grimy, and it's just, but it's, I don't know. It was, for me at least, it was great seeing this. You get to see some of like the glory hole rooms, kind of, women trying to entice men to go into these two rooms with a solid wall between these two rooms to close the doors. You get to see that like that. You really get a vibe of the 42nd Street area in the early 80s. And places like that just don't exist anymore. So getting to see them in film as they actually were at that time is always a treat for me. It's like going back in a time machine to an extinct place and time. So I don't know. I really like that. Now, for when we get to the Florida scenes, they obviously, for me, they can't compete with with those scenes at 42nd Street. That was kind of the highlight of the setting for me. But like there is still kind of a sleazy feel. Um, in like when the film is in Florida, just by the nature of like the tone and feel of the overall film. But we also do get to kind of get that we kind of get to feel that, like, that Florida lifestyle as well. You get some scenes of people out on like on like a yacht, having some fun drinking and whatnot on like yacht life, I guess. You get to see some scenes at like a beach. I think it's like Daytona Beach or whatnot. Driving by like on like the streets near the edge of the water there, palm trees, all that stuff. So it's, yeah, like for the most part, these Florida scenes are cool. Like it gives it that kind of, like I said, that Florida lifestyle feeling, which I like. It's good. Early 80s, it's great. Now, but regardless of all that stuff I just mentioned, for the most part, a lot of these Florida scenes take place in like a single family home. That's where a lot of it comes. Like I said, because this is when we shift to like the family that's living down there that has some interactions with him. And it's like I said, it's okay. Like I said, there is some sleazy feelings in that house as well. It's just the type of film it is. So, yeah, this is, like I said, this is one of those films where the setting is basically dictated by, where it was filmed. Um, but, besides that, it just has that overall sleazy tone that throughout the film that acts as part of the setting. It kind of permeates the feeling in the film. And I loved it. I love that type of tone in these films. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed the setting for this film. So yeah, that's what you can expect. All right, let's move on, and let's talk about the kills. Alright, so Nightmare in a Damaged Brain has a total of 6 kills. Now, I guess I would consider this to be kind of a lower kill count. And, to be honest, uh, due to the pacing of these kills, you actually kind of feel that lower number. There, like I said at the beginning of the film, there's a little bit of gore, and but then there's quite a big lull throughout the middle of the film that takes place. It's not too bad. There is a little bit going on, um, but there is a lull, and like I said, I felt it. I did feel that. However, believe me when I say when I say this, the wait is worth it, because when the conclusion and the climax of this film kicks into gear, these are some of the best kills I've ever seen in the entire genre. Um, yeah, I first, like I said, first off, this film has what I think just what may be the best throat slit I've ever seen. Uh, it's it's so gory and it's so long. The camera just stares at this open wound, and it's like there's like the visceral sounds of the person dying. The blood is pouring out. The wound opens up, and as their head kind of goes back, the wound opens up. It's a really really violent, brutal throat slit. Like I said, it may be the best one I've ever seen in terms of practical effects. There is a decapitation scene in this film that I am gonna say is a masterpiece of practical effects work. If you've been watching this channel for a while, I've a few times I've brought up like the one of the best kills I've ever seen, one of the best decapitations I've ever seen, was in a film called Bloody Moon. It has like a big like a circular saw decapitation scene, which is unbelievable. I think the decapitation scene in this film is better. I think. I don't know. But I think it is. I think this is better than that Bloody Moon decapitation. And that's saying something because I loved that one. So I was really taken aback by this. Um, and then you get some other. There's like a hammer kill, which is fantastic. And there's an axe kill, which is really good. All these kills that I mentioned are just they're just all like amazing and like incredibly gory, and like it's not like these quick shots in the camera cuts away. Like it lingers, the camera lingers, and you see like they put some time into crafting these effects. And like I said, that's what like I said earlier, like you can feel this Savini effect because when Savini does some of these kills, they're long shots. They're not just like quick editing tricks. Like he follows like the kill happens and he follows through with the full kill. And he has like Savini has like a magic way of doing that, and there's not many of these practical effects guys back then anyway that do that. And this film has it like really long kills, some of them. So yeah, like I said, maybe not the most kills at 6, but maybe the best in the genre. Uh, they're gory. They're like they have that sleazy, that like the kills have that sleazy factor to them. Um, they're just great. And like I said, like any good sleazy slasher film, a lot of these kills, like they have that mix of like the sleazy sex with incorporated with the kills that just give them that different feel from most others in the genre. Um, I don't know. There's just I don't know. It's they're great. There's actually a kill here where it looks like the killer is getting some sort of orgasmic pleasure while he's it's like a stabbing, and every time he like stabs the victim, it's like he has like an orgasmic pleasure on his face and his body reaction. It's just that's what these some of these kills feel like. They're really dirty, really sleazy, and I don't know. I really like that. So yeah, the kills in this film are pretty special, I think. Um, you know, the after hearing me describe these, they may not be for everybody. I know I recognize that some people do not like these sort of kills, but for me, um, they're top notch. Fantastic. So yeah, that's what I think about the kills. Let's move on and let's talk about the nudity. All right, so this film has a total of four nude scenes, which is, like that's a solid number of scenes. They're fairly evenly paced throughout the film. Unlike the kills, there's basically some sort of sex scene or something going on throughout the whole film. But besides one scene, most of these were pretty quick flashes. There was no long camera lingering. There was one which we'll talk about, but um, a lot of them were just quick little, you know, um, flashes of some quick nudity. But the the actual nudity wasn't the point. I don't think with this. It was more to capture, like, the point was more to capture the sexual sleazy vibe that was going on, and that, like I said, that is pretty much throughout the entire film. Now we get we get your typical scenes. There's some undressing scenes. There's like a shower scene, and then there's, like, a couple of, like, love scenes, whatnot. And like I said, there's some nudity mixed in, but it's more about the tone of those scenes, like voyeurism, sleaziness. It's more of a feeling, like I said, as opposed to actually gratuitous nudity, just to gaze at naked women. It's not really what this film's about. Um, but now, like I said, when the scenes that take place on 42nd Street, um, as I mentioned before, there was that peep show with, like, the circular stage with, like, little peep windows that open up. That is a gratuitous scene. There's like I said, it's basically a woman dancing for men in this peep booth, and it's long, and she's obviously, well, she's naked, obviously, and it's yeah, it's that's the one scene that's, like, super super long, I guess. I don't know. It's in your face, that scene. Now, there's another scene that also takes place in the 42nd Street area that doesn't actually have any actual nudity, but you're basically seeing, like a John or whatever in here watching a woman through, like a peep window or something, and basically what you're witnessing, she's not naked, but basically the camera just cuts off at the right angle, but you basically are watching her using a vibrator on herself. So again, no nudity, but extremely filthy, like filthy, sleazy scene. That's what you can expect. It's just, I don't know. It's just, that's what the type of film that this is. Um, yeah, it's so, I don't know. It's just like I said, like, the type of nudity sex is definitely one of the reasons I think it probably made it onto, like, the video nasties list. Uh, Again, like the violence, it's not for everybody. So definitely be warned. But if you enjoy this style of film that contains these type of sex scenes and this type of sleazy imagery, um, you're probably really dig it. All right, let's move on and talk about the DVD. All right, so yeah, this DVD, I don't really know what to say about this. I don't know if anyone can find this one. I found this at, like, a secondhand, like a secondhand movie store. They said, like, a horror section, and I found this. So this is, like, it looks like really cheap. It looks like it's I don't know. I don't know what this is. I kind of got it for free because it was like a 2 for 1, buy two get one for free of the same or equal price or equal or lesser price. So this was like my third one, I think. So I kind of got it for free. You can go on eBay and find this cover. Um, so I don't know if it's the exact version of this. I know like this kind of looks like one of the UK. This might be like the UK cover. So I don't know. It doesn't say it's region locked. It's yeah region free. DVD R. I, I don't know what this is. There's basically two Blu-ray versions that you can pick up. There is one from Code Red, and there's one from 88 Films. Those are both, from what I've seen, are both over $100 to find, um, which is too bad. So I would recommend just going on eBay and trying to find something like this. I'm sure you can get this for under 20 bucks or something, a version similar to this. Um, what you need to do is make sure you get the uncut version. Like I said, there's a bunch of different versions of this film. This one is uncut, and there is some stuff missing, I think, from some of the other versions. So if you can, try to track down the uncut because like you're missing out some of like some of the sleeves and some of the kills and whatnot. But yeah, like just like I said, I'm recommending this film, so get it however you can. But yeah, there's not really much to say about this because I don't really know what this is, what this DVD package is. But it looks okay. This version, like I think if you buy one of these, it doesn't look great. It's it's better than VHS, but it's not good quality DVD. But it's okay. It kind of adds to the charm because it's like again, these grindhouse sleazy type films. It kind of adds to it. There's some like jittery moments and whatnot. It's dark. It's not lit really well, but I definitely want to pick up a Blu-ray if I can find. I'm hoping they re-release it because I'm not paying $100. But I've seen some screenshots and stuff from those Blu-rays, and they look great, and it would look really good and clean up. And I like this film so much that I definitely want to see it in a better version. But this is fine for me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's really all I can say. There's no actually there is special features on this. There was like an alternate opening and an alternate conclusion. Look at that. Um, yeah, and I think there's a trailer and something. There actually is a few special features on this. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, that's the DVD. So let's just move on and wrap it up with some final thoughts. So yeah, I absolutely loved Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. In fact, this is the film that has had the highest initial ranking on my overall 80s slasher rankings. Probably in the past 2 or 3 years. I think right now I have this on my first watch of this film. I think I bumped it up right now. I think it's sitting at number 27 overall. So basically, there's just like heavy hitters, really heavy hitters ahead of it on my overall rankings. I liked it that much. Usually, I'm at the point now when I watch a new film that I've never seen before. You know, there, if it's a film I like, it's in the 30s to 40, 50 range. Films I don't like so much, it can be in like the 60s, 70s, 80s range. So the fact that this jumped up to 27 speaks speaks it speaks volumes for me. I don't know. Now, like I said, this is not your typical 80s slasher, but it's one of the slashers that falls within that um, sleazy subgenre of the slasher film. Like your Maniac and New York Ripper and a bunch of others. The plot is definitely um, the plot is definitely serviceable. And it actually has, like I said, a pretty good little twist ending reveal that I kind of liked. It has a great sleazy tone, um, kind of as it's setting. Like I said, the 42nd Street area of New York City was definitely a highlight for me. In terms of nudity, like I said, there's ample amount of, sex nudity for anyone who's interested in that, but it's not your typical look at the pretty lady, let's show her naked body to titillate. That's not what this is at all. It's more about showing realistic scenes of people that, that are having sexual acts or witnessing sexual acts at like a peep show or whatnot, and it's the nudity's there, but that's not the point, if that makes sense. But most importantly, I like I said, I think this may have some of the best kills I've ever seen in in an 80s slasher. And I don't say that lightly. I think that they are that good. Yeah, so in conclusion, this film is a grimy, seedy, sleazy, ugly piece of filmmaking that somehow found a way to make me really like something that honestly I didn't think it would do before going into watching it, but it did. I kind of knew the reputation for this film, and so my I knew I was probably gonna like it, but I didn't have super high hopes, but it exceeded them all. So yeah, I'm gonna highly recommend this film for some of you, not not everyone. This film 100% is not for everybody. If you have a squeamish stomach, you don't like looking at super violent, super gory, super sleazy sex scenes, definitely not for you. Probably stay away. But if that stuff doesn't bother you and you like this sort of style of film, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun, and I really liked it. All right, guys, that's it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. All right, so yeah, if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around and watching the video, and all right, I'll see you next time. All right, see ya.